Hi. So this is the website for the textbook, which is often referred to just as CORE. The name of the textbook is The Economy. It's an open access interactive ebook, and it's available to anyone for free. I've actually been involved a little bit in helping with its adoption in this country. I think it's a great textbook. It's updated just recently. And so this is how you get online. So you come down here, click register now, and you'll be able to see, you choose what type of account you have. So a student account for you. Can't have a teacher account, they'll check. Put in your name, your school email address, and a password. And then choose undergraduate student. University of Rhode Island, Kingston, Rhode Island, and then the United States. And then you can choose whether or not you want to receive emails. You can uncheck that, register now. So I'm going to log in here and I'm going to take you to the book. So once you log in, it will take you to your account and it will say, hey, version 1.0 is now live. And you say, thank you very much. So you just click here on your ebook and then click on read now. So you can do this on a desktop, you can do this on your phone, you can do it on a laptop, you can do it on a tablet, whatever you want to connect to, it all works. I've read it on all of those. So then just go to read now and it will take you to the contents. And so as I said, we're going to do chapters 1 and 2, which really are macroeconomic chapters. And then we're going to skip the microeconomic chapters, with the exception of the labor market and a little bit of pricing decisions by the firm. So let's look here at chapter 1, the capitalist revolution. And I just want to point you through a few uh, sort of cool features of the textbook. So first of all, it's broken into pretty reasonable sections, and each chapter isn't that long. So it shouldn't take you too long to read each chapter. And as I said again, make sure you read the chapters. It's going to be very important. So you'll see they often have these footnotes. You can just hover over them. You don't have to click, and it will give you a source. Then you just close it there. And there's lots of graphs, updated graphs, and we're going to talk about this in chapter 1, the hockey stick growth. Some of the graphs are just straight, like this one, right? But then there are some graphs that have pieces, and we'll talk about that. There are also videos. I encourage you to watch the videos. I will link them also in the lesson on Sakai, especially if I think it's an important video. So this one is linked in the week 1 lesson. Um, they're not too long, sort of 3 to 5 or 6 minutes, and have economists talking about what they study and what they are experts in, and so it can be pretty interesting. Then you just click on the next section, and I want to show you sort of how some of these graphs work. And so you'll see that along the side, if you're reading it on a wide screen, or along the top, if you're reading it on like your phone, there are different pieces of the graph. And so you can see that each time you click through, it changes the graph, and it also changes the information below the graph. And so I encourage you very much to click through all of these options, right? And so this one, as we'll see in chapter 1, is talking about income inequality both across countries and within countries. So this is from 1980. This is ranked from poorest country to richest country. And then along this sort of z-axis, or the deep axis, it looks at income inequality within that country. So you can see, that China was very, very poor in 1980, and then as we click through, China becomes richer, right? So China is large. The width of this graph is the population, and so China, which was down here in 1980, started to grow during the 80s. So in the 90s, they're less poor, and then by 2014, we see that they are now a middle income country. And so all of these graphs have you can click through them and they provide even more and more information, and I find that to be very helpful. So make sure you click that. It also shows you, so this one, we're going to look through this in chapter 1, gives you a link where you can look at this graph in an interactive fashion. It often has links to the data, so if you're interested where the data came from, you can find that. And then there are exercises. We won't generally do the exercises in this class, but some of the questions will be influenced by the exercises, so I recommend reading them even though you don't have to do them. There are also questions at the end of some sections. So if you scroll down, for instance, to the bottom of this section, 1.2, you'll see there's a question. And I would recommend going through these. You can check your answers. It gives you feedback if you got them wrong. And some of them you may find repeated in the weekly problem sets. And so it's a little bit of a check on your reading as well. And then you'll see that there are these Einstein sections at the end of some sections, not every section, every now and then. And so this one talks about how to calculate nominal GDP and real GDP and the growth rate. And so we'll talk about this when we go through chapter 1. But we will be covering the Einstein section, so make sure you read those as well. As I said, each chapter is probably, an hour and a half to 2 hours of reading, I would guess. I'm a slow reader personally, so 2 hours seems like the maximum it would take. So definitely read them. The videos I post will be a total of 30 minutes to an hour per week. And then you have to spend some time doing the problem set. So you do have to spend time in this class, but I think you'll find that it works out well.